Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
What time is it?
I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
Now Myers to win the league, yes!
And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Grant and Pabz! Werewolves of London.
Well, hello and welcome to the Below the Rim show, a show dedicated to the BBL. It's me, Pabz. I'm joined by the Northern correspondent, and rightly so after the news of today, the brave-hearted Mr. Grant Young. How are you, sir?
Good evening, one and all. Pabz, hello. Brilliant news for us today.
It is, isn't it?
Over the moon.
It's just me and you until Ads joins us. Ads is doing, I don't know what he's doing. I think he's coaching tonight and he has to take his little go home or whatnot, but... yeah, it's just me and you, but rightly so, because we'll talk a bit about BBL Player.
Busy weekend coming up, isn't there?
There's a busy weekend coming up. We'll talk about the BBL Player becoming defunct, which no one's really surprised about. I don't know if anybody actually watches games on that anymore. They're on YouTube. News of a BBL rebrand, which is in its early stages. And of course, the Cup. We'll do the BTR 5 and some predictions. But the Cup's going to take the majority of the show. But let's head to the Northern correspondent first of all. How do you feel, Farah Alihodzic?
Oh, I think it's a brilliant signing and shows that even though we're unsure of when Ali Fraser will return, that we are not taking it for granted and looking to strengthen the squad. And getting someone of Farrell's quality is a brilliant kind of coup for the league and for the club, and kind of shows actually the Gladiators and the Timneys mean business and not just resting their laurels. I
felt sorry for him, for Ali Hodzic last season to a degree. I felt he was a little bit misused, shall we say, for the Lions in a roster that's was a Vince. Was it last season or season before? Time slips away, but
before it must have.
Yeah, Vince McCauley 3-point bomb season with two big guys under the basket to grab the rebounds essentially was what it was. But he's a class player and known across Europe for what he's capable of.
Yeah, and I think what you're saying about like London and whatever else, he's only going to come into a team that he's going to get better on. He's played a lot of the season. A lot of the chat I was seeing online was he was injured for a lot of his time at London or coming back from an injury. But he's been playing top league Kosovo, contributing, doing some pretty cool stuff. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do. It was the 2021 season in London. Like he then played kind of second division Greece around about then. So I think he's going to come in and hopefully contribute massively for a team that probably need a big body inside. So no, absolutely delighted. Great to see him come over, and even bigger news of that it's not just for the rest of this season, but next season as well.
But that's massive. The contract element that we don't normally get, that he's committing fairly long term. Is this signs of some money being spent by the team from Glasgow?
I think it's more also, we're going to start seeing it around the league though, of teams going, you know what, there's a bit more security. There seems to be a bit more chat of players staying for another year or players more inclined to stay longer. I think in terms of stature, our league's always kind of been mid to low end Europe, and players have used it as stepping stones, whereas now it's probably, it must be getting much more appealing when guys like Farrell are happy to come back and play here. And a lot of other guys knowing that they're going to sign multi-year deals. I think it's a stage where the Gladiators are going to show a wee bit of kind of their musk in that sense of knowing, well, this is actually how we're going to roll, and also be quite open with the fact that he's signed for 2 seasons or a season and a half. Because I've seen on social media and stuff that seems his family's coming with him, and I think that's
wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I believe there's one more. Whenever this goes out, they might already announce it, but I believe there's one more signing to come for the Gladiators as a replacement for Jordan Burns, who seems to have started pretty well over in Canada. I just think that never really worked with. I think him and Sloan seemed to get on really well from what I hear from the camp. But it always just felt as if there was the offense kind of stifled or slowed down, and we saw the reduction in Sloan's productivity, and then let's be honest, since it's now just been Sloan and no Burns, he's been much. How good's David Sloan been?
No, he's been really good, but it's strange, isn't it? Because when Burns came in, he looked legit. He had a real kind of explosion into the league, and then, like you say, it became. I don't know if it's kind of became one of those things where they both are maybe similar players, the same height, and it became sort of it's your turn, my turn kind of offense. Whereas now,
I always think it was just interesting that he as well he never started the game. When Jordan came in, Kyle Jimenez was in the starting.
Yeah, that is a strange. Well, the depth you've got now with big guys. Obviously, Ali Fraser's out. We don't know how long for, but you've got Patrick Tapper. You had a great weekend, and I'm sure we'll talk about him in the BTR5. Plus Ali Hodzic, plus Onwaz, who I mean technically already comes off the bench, but he's that big guy capable of playing multiple positions, but he can play that kind of 4 position. It's looking good.
And Onwas, I think, goes a bit underrated around the league, probably because we see guys like Sloan, Bailey, Ali Fraser when he's fit. Onwas can go off one night and shoot 3 from 3, or he can have a night where he's just contributing rebounds and the hustle plays.
Yeah.
And I think that was shown at the weekend against Plymouth, when, let's be honest, the Gladiators, I know we'll probably touch on games, so we might a wee bit, like a 16-point win against Plymouth.
It's a big win.
Like a 16-point win over Plymouth, who, had new guys in, but the Gladiators were down 2 bodies.
Yeah.
When you think about an import, and also an Ali Fraser, who we've talked about in the past has been one of the best bigs, or British bigs in our league.
One of the best bigs in the league, full stop, yeah.
And you know what, and his stepping up massively has been players like Oscar Baldwin off the bench. Like I'm just looking at here to remind me, he played 12 minutes, got 4 rebounds.
Yeah.
Looked hungry to shoot. And yeah, we've got a team that, like, Fraser Malcolm's really stepping up. I think Kyle Jimenez has been fantastic over the last couple of weeks. And I think we're just in a pretty good place. And then if you're adding in 2 bodies to at least put us back to full strength, it's an exciting time coming into an exciting part of the season.
Definitely. 18 games, so you've still got games in hand over Cheshire, Riders and Flyers. And there's a chance for you to put some daylight between yourselves and kind of the 8th spot, if you like, because Nicholson's not here to defend himself. The Patriots obviously will need time to bed the new guys in. 3 new guys now as well, because that was happened since the last show. Jules Dangakodo being announced as, it's a good signing. It gives that team a bit more depth and some support in the guard positions, but also he's a solid BBL player. He's won with the Royals alongside LVC, so that's good. But it's going to take time, and the worrying thing is, from that aspect, is how much time. Because granted, they've got games in hand, and they're 7th right now, 2 points clear of Sheffield, who have played 2 more. They're on the same amount of games as Newcastle, who are 6 points behind. I guess it's how long it takes, because you don't want to be that team that needing 3 or 4 games to kind of get everybody in, because they had a real preseason feel to them. There were parts of that game where they came back at Gladiators and they actually looked quite good, and then there was a little bit disjointed, which you'd expect. New guys trying to gel into the existing players and whatnot. I was just
surprised the last few games where LVC is going, like, you're talking about a guy that won Player of the Month to now 0 points, but is he now just going to facilitate his team? But then he only got 1 assist, and he's obviously got scorers around him, and Bell, Daniels, Hassan wasn't as dominant as he was in the home game for Plymouth, and then you get the new guy Gadsden, Dangakodo. Like, I suppose you need to get these guys shots to get into a feeling rhythm. I'd agree with that, but I also think that's for a new team with new bodies facing a team like Gladiators who are missing 2 players. Like, I'm surprised at the margin of victory. I thought it'd be a much closer game. I think it shows
Yeah,
more that
I wasn't surprised. I was more surprised we went down 22 and came back to single digits, and then obviously went down again. They rallied a bit, and which is good and shows good signs for the future. But the Gladiators team is way more established. Even when you look at like whether or not Onwaz starts or not, you've got someone like that coming off the bench. They're more established. Jimenez hit a big three. Patrick Tape just had a great game. 20 points, 9 rebounds. Onwaz was 18 points. Fraser Malcolm had one of his better games this season as well. 13 points. They're a little bit more gelled.
Yeah.
Awesome. And they look good for it. And to be honest with you, and I'm not blowing smoke up Gladiators, I honestly thought the way that team's played this season, and there's been some inconsistencies, I felt like they would be higher up the table at this point. So I guess from that respect, I'm not surprised. They got new guys coming in, and like you say, possibly another one being announced when this is released, which is it's going to be when we're recording this Tuesday night, so Wednesday.
So
you're only strengthening a squad that has already looked competent this season.
You've got to look. So Gladiators have had. I've got somehow a home and away table somewhere. So apologies if it's wrong. Gladiators have played 8 home games. They're 7-1, outscoring their teams, winning games by an average of 10 points. You go on the road, they've played 10. They're 2-8.
Wow.
They're losing games by an average of 6. That's a 16-point swing.
That's a curse of travelling.
And there's only 3 teams looking at the away records who are above 500.
But let's not forget as well,
3 teams.
I'd be interested to see out of those away games which ones Ali Frazier went down. They really missed him. You mentioned Rashad Hassan having a really strong game when you guys came down to Plymouth. That's because you didn't have any big men there. Patrick Tape wasn't having the games he's having now.
Agreed.
So that I think that's kind of going to level itself out when you get the new guys in. You're a bit more strengthened. You get guys coming back from injury. You're going to be up that table.
Yeah, and I suppose you just have to look at how close that kind of midfield battle is. How most teams round about Plymouth, Manchester Gladiators, Cheshire kind of out ahead in 21. Leicester played 19. Like all these teams are now, it's kind of level. London, obviously, with the exception, 4 games back in Cheshire, or Bristol, sorry, on 17 games as well. Like, yeah. It's going to be interesting, kind of close out our couple of months anyway with so many games remaining. We're legit halfway through the season.
Yeah, I think looking at this league table, I don't think the top 3 are going to change. 4 down to 8, 4 maybe down to 9, because Surrey, the best will in the world, they had a tough weekend. I don't know if Surrey can do it, and I know there's a lot of games left, and we've kind of talked about teams whether they're going to make it or not, and myself and Ads previously weren't very high on the Eagles making it, but they're dragging themselves back into the discussion. They were not unlucky. They fought hard against the Giants. The Giants just had too much for them, but I thought it's a tough weekend for them. Giants and Flyers in the same weekend. Flyers, of course, literally flying high, but Justin Gordon's had a good start, and I think he's going to be a problem. What is he averaging? 19 points, 8 rebounds in 2 games.
Yeah, but you have players like Justin Gordon, and Eagles fans. I had quite a few Eagles fans reach out to me over the weekend saying how what I said in this show last week was bang on. They've got good players, but are trying to then play too many good players. They've lost to Bristol by 10, then lost to Manchester by 5.
Yeah.
Like they're going so deep into their bench that Kyle Johnson scored 22 points against Giants, but in 25 minutes. Like Justin Gordon, he's still probably finding his feet a wee bit.
Yeah.
Wasn't in foul trouble, played 29 minutes and scored 19. Why are you forcing minutes into Johnston, Kennedy, Mockford when you're getting minimal from them? Right? I get giving guys rest, but a guy like Justin Gordon, a big game like that, he needs to be playing 35 minutes.
Oh, God, yeah. In games you think you can win, I would have said definitely. And I would have
Like, you
thought
look at the Eagles.
out of the two, Giants was the team they could have taken, particularly at
Absolutely.
home.
Absolutely.
I honestly think.
I said
Go on.
Eagles as well. I said Eagles would win that just purely based on the fact home game.
And they weren't a million
And
miles away, were they?
no, and they've also kept, from a scoring point of view, they kept Taj Green quiet from a scoring point of view. If you do that, Ramon only got 8 points.
Yeah.
But they probably in that team have no one that can stop Dirk or William Lee. Not many teams have so far.
Well, William Lee legit was, in my mind, front runner for the MVP until he got injured. And it's that thing of his numbers and how valuable he is to that team compared to Sam Decker on a Lions team where they can afford to leave him out, which they did over the weekend.
Yeah, I was surprised at that, actually, that Decker sat out. I was, but they didn't need him. And actually, it's probably been brilliant for them as a team that you've got guys that are able to come in against, whether it's Surrey, whether it's against Sheffield. And Sheffield played decent. That's one of Jordan Rahitino's. He scored early on really well, and then disappeared in the game. Yeah. I think Routinho went 3 from 3 to start with, and then disappeared. But Sharks are just so difficult to watch and enjoy to watch.
Oh, good, yeah.
But London, Caboza's played 20 minutes. Camagum's played 20 minutes. Ward Hibbert's he's played quite a bit recently. Kufos was 23, Charma 21, Decker played 23 against Sheffield.
Yeah.
Taylor 20, Aaron Best 18. They just split their minutes as if it's like European qualifier for a national team.
Definitely. They definitely share it. Tough weekend for the Sharks. 2 losses. Yes. Obviously, Lions, no one expected them to beat the Lions. I don't think any of us expected to beat the Flyers either. So they've really taken a knock. And the worst of it is for them is they've played 2 games more than the Eagles.
Yeah.
If the Eagles can pick up 2 wins on their way to matching, games played with Sheffield, at least they're on a par. And at the moment, out of the 2 teams, if they faced each other, and I'm not sure if they are actually,
they play each other the 3rd of February.
There you go.
And Newcastle.
I'd pick the Eagles right now. The Sharks, it's really taken a dip for the Sharks. Kipper Nichols played okay. But I think both games Kipper Nichols played okay. Saeed Nelson played half an hour and he scored 10 points, got 7 assists, which is good. But I don't know, there's nothing on that squad that really.
So Newcastle, I think they've still played Newcastle 2 times, and both times are in Newcastle.
Oh, wow.
That says a lot. It honestly says a lot about how close that bit in the table could be, and then that brings Newcastle back into it. And it's going to be pretty darn exciting.
I take it back. Kipper Nichols seemed to struggle in that first game against the Flyers. 5 points. Ratinho had a decent scoring game. 37 and a half minutes for Ratinho. Anyway.
Go and come back.
Yeah, let's... We'll probably leave the chat in terms of league results and whatnot. We'll move on to something else. Let's turn our attention to the news that came out just before we recorded this, actually, roughly. The BBL Player is going to be taken down. No more. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not surprised. In fact, I forgot we still had the BBL Player because everything's on YouTube. I don't ever switch to the BBL Player, I'm afraid. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but obviously it wasn't something 777 introduced, was it? I'm trying to remember now.
I'm wondering if it was, well...
It was way before. No, it was way before because the key motion stuff was way before that.
Did 777 make it free? Was that what they did?
Possibly. That might be. Yeah, I think they might have done.
Because they saw how crap key motions was and went, this is abysmal.
Yeah, it wasn't great, was it? I did like the retro games, obviously, that they had on it, and I'm hoping they'll put those on YouTube because some of them are on YouTube.
Yeah, I think that's the bit. I think BBL Player served a purpose. It was brilliant when it worked, and it just too often didn't work. The amount of times you were on social media seeing issues with sound or pictures or the thing just zooming in and out non-stop was a bit rubbish. But the classic
missing
games
the fast breaks,
the fast breaks was ridiculous. The classic games I'll miss. I got kind of into a few over the festive period. I think that's what Josh Brett will miss the most too.
Yeah, me too. There's an all-star game on there that's fun as well.
So I think there'll be stuff, if they can get a back catalogue on YouTube or have it as like a playlist on the YouTube channel, I think that'd be brilliant. So hopefully they do that. But I think it's, when you see what the league want to do in terms of televised games, trying to get it on terrestrial, YouTube, we've still got the Sky stuff, you see a lot of progress, don't you?
Hey, look, this is something I've said for a very long time, is that if the BBL had a terrestrial home, there'd be, I don't know, 50% more fans at least. Like we. But
this is then into my other argument, which we've not really had as a topic, and it's going totally off BBL Player. I then think too many teams have the new teams who have built stadiums and building stadiums, with maybe the exception of Gladiators, are building their stadiums too small.
Oh, well, yeah, the outreach is going to be higher, isn't it?
So Sharks is 2,000s. I think Newcastle can take 3. It might just top 3.
They may be able to put more tiers in though at Newcastle.
Well, if they can do that, then that place would be incredible.
Leicester are looking at tier. They've got room to go behind the baskets, and from what it looks like when you go there, the bleachers either side are like the retractable ones. So whether or not they can get more better angles, like again, put a balcony viewing in or something, I don't know. But yeah, I think you might be right. The way the league's going, but from that respect,
obviously,
they could turn into, I don't know, training facilities, and you could end up with completely different arenas popping up.
I know we slag Sheffield for the blue walls and whatever else, but their new facility by picture and what's happening on the ground looks incredible.
Yes.
But that's only 2,000 seats.
Yeah.
I don't know what Sharks average this season. It seems to, depending on who you speak to and what game they go to, some they say he's quite busy and others they say there's lucky if there's a man and a dog there.
Really? It always looks quite full.
Sometimes I think that's just good camera angles. If I'm wrong, Sheffield fans, I'm sorry. Don't give me any hate. I just don't know. I said it when I went to Newcastle. Apparently that was when Gladiators were there, just between Christmas and New Year. That was apparently the most tickets they'd sell for hard cash, and it was full. I'm like, well, if they're filling that, okay, it's a big game. Their team's not doing that well. Where's your growth? So that's my one worry for teams who have got a new facility or saying like 2,000. I think we need to be aiming for having things like 5,000-seater arenas, and
could be right.
But that's pie in the sky as well, I suppose, for a lot of teams.
Well,
so yeah,
if the point, it's along the lines of what I was going to say, which is with a terrestrial home, more people get to see, even if it's highlight packages, even if it's, I mean, Grandstand used to be fantastic for it. Like Grandstand on a Sunday afternoon would have some BBL on it. You'd be able to watch part of the first half and the whole second half, for example. And that,
because I remember watching a BBL Cup. I think it was a Haribo Cup final from like 2004 or 5.
If it was a cup final, it would definitely be on. There's also league games on there and all sorts. That's kind of where you stumble across stuff, and that's where, when I was a kid, you'd stumble across it and watch a game or whatever. But that, I guess we're talking so late 90s. I think it would go out on local Meridian networks.
Yeah.
So whatever your local ITV network was, your home team or your closest team would go out on that, plus BBC Grandstand. But yeah, it would be phenomenal if it could get that. And maybe we should talk, in conjunction with that, we should talk a little bit about the NBA game going out, and not bad. There wasn't really a backlash from it, but there was some positive comments saying, "Oh, good, this is great. By the way, we've got a domestic league. I don't know if you know about it. Maybe you could put 1 or 2 games on there, sort of thing." But it just, I think it's because I'm getting old. It just pisses me off. It's like, oh god, you're I mean, that won't have been cheap to put an NBA game on.
But then for the BBC to take it up secondary, maybe they might have been, because it was on BBC Three or whatever it was on.
Hmm.
But it was brilliant. The BBC had Ovi on, and they always had, when it flashed up his name, Ovi Soko, London Lions.
Yeah.
And Ovi being there, mentioning London Lions, that goes a long way in my opinion. So I think that was
Absolutely.
brilliant.
But
I
wouldn't it
think
be
it's
good to have BBL fixtures on there? Whether it's
it'd
BBC
be
Three or
very,
whatever it is.
yeah. And I'm one that we've got BBC Scotland that likes to show reruns of shows from the 70s.
Oh wow.
So
What was the soap Highlands, wasn't it? The soap opera?
we've had loads of crap.
It was that, but that was one that was back in the day. That was kind of the Scottish version of Neighbours.
We've had River City. We've
Nah,
had that's more
I
modern.
was sure it was the Highlands. It was called the Highlands. I'm sure that's what it was
Pabz,
called.
Pabz, you're showing your age, mate.
You had Home and Away, Neighbours, and the Highlands. Which one was the more exotic? But yeah, terrestrial home would be good. It's good to see basketball on the BBC, like they're acknowledging it exists. If you like, that's always a good thing.
And that's what, if that's what we're aspiring to get on short term, it's a brilliant place to be.
Mm.
Like if that's what the league CEO, for them to even mention things like that means those discussions are ongoing. It means developments are happening, and that's like a wee teaser that, by the way, this could be happening sooner rather than later. And
Yeah,
if the BBC are showing a couple of NBA games and then a couple of conference final games and then the finals as well, you're like, okay, you hope that league CEOs involved in those conversations with where it can go. And I think it'd be brilliant.
absolutely. How long do you think it stays free on YouTube? At least another season.
Where else would it go?
Well, this
Or
is
you
it.
mean then go behind a paywall?
The kind of development, whether it goes behind a paywall or whether they dedicate more, Sky gives more and says, look, you can have 3 games a week, or,
I mean, as someone that probably has the majority of sports channels, as long as it's on one of the channels I already pay for, um,
yeah.
or I'm able to get access to, then. But then you're like, oh, YouTube works. You saw their numbers; they put out some crazy numbers, like over 1,000% increase in the amount of views and hits and whatever else is shows it's clearly working in what they're doing. So yeah,
The numbers for Sky Games were pretty good as well. I mean, Ads is the only one of us who's seen any kind of documentation on that, and it was in the 60,000 for one game, and it was improving. So
yeah, that's brilliant.
who knows?
Hey, people are clearly watching our league and more fans, and we can see that. Let's be honest, the way social media goes, when things get more fans, there's a wee bit more toxic behaviour and a wee bit more like comments, and hey, there'll be some people within the circles that won't like it and won't really adapt to it and will get really upset by it. But
Of course not.
and we get the occasional bit, but you take the love and you try and forget about the hate.
Let me just do that. Let's head to another topic that's started to. It's been rumored, but I think it is pretty much a fact that BBL is looking to rebrand. Obviously, you'd think that means the website, particularly, and potentially logo, maybe even the name of BBL may change. Who knows what will come of it and how they perceive things. But it's interesting news. It's typical investors news. I guess you want to
Leave your mark.
Yeah, you want to leave your mark. But you want to make it as shiny and spectacular as possible for the next guys to come along and invest in that league. And I don't know. I feel like it's a good thing. Just don't fuck the logo up, because I love the logo. And obviously, there's every chance it's going to change, but it's the one thing. Although it's changed slightly over the years, it's been relatively constant. Yeah,
Pabz, I think you're going to get upset, mate.
of course I am.
You should maybe try and buy some sort of placard from the cup final with the old logo, hang it in the garage, and just remember the days before the logo changes.
I hadn't thought of that, but 100%. I'd love to do that. Strip something off the floor. Strip off the the markings on the court on the floor. But no, I've always loved the logo. I really love the old one. If you go on our website at the bottom, I use the old BBL logo, the old sort
Is
of
that one
lilac.
of the kind of baden ball?
Yeah, the lilac with the brown and white patch ball. See, they kept the emphasis, they kept the kind of feel with the new ball, with the molten ball, with the brown and white. But don't know how I feel about it. Obviously, the website needs to be reworked, and particularly the sort of stats element of it would be some sort of BBL reference would be fantastic. Going back further than 2008, but it won't. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's what, from a history point of view, we talk about history quite a bit in this one. And obviously I think majority of listeners know how much of a stats and history geek you are for the BBL. And it's crazy to think that there isn't that many resources. And listen to what Johnny said when he was on this. Players don't know the historic stats season to season unless they keep records on them. Like Johnny had no idea what his brother shot.
That's shocking
because it was
as well.
before 2008.
I thought if anybody would have access to any kind of stats like that, it would be the players.
Yeah.
But clearly not.
If the league website takes a step up, that's huge. That's massive. We see the increase or the levels of social media through everything. YouTube's brilliant. Shorts are brilliant on that. So if we can get it to a place where the website becomes like a place you want to go to then go elsewhere.
Absolutely.
Like other than live, I don't even think I'll very often land on the homepage of the BBL. I go click on links if there's anything I want to read off of social media, and I've got the live stats link saved.
Yeah. League table. That's it, really.
I don't even think I use the league's website for that.
I do go on the stats. I've recently, and you'll like this as well. It's particularly for the cup final. I'll share it with you at some point. Well, obviously before the weekend. We'll start talking about the cup in a minute. But I've stripped all the season stats by cup, going right the way back to 2008, and it's got the search. So now you can search specific players. It's just taken me ages to collate season on season, player on player. There's someone like Jamal Anderson who's played in the cup 9 times who can't collate. You've got to drag all those stuff. It might not be as many as 9. It might be 6 or 7. I can't remember. But yeah, so I'm onto the B section. But that'll be done for the playoff, for the cup final. Sorry. So that'll be fun. But yeah, I think a rebrand is probably long overdue. I'd imagine. I don't know. I just don't want them to change too much.
And I think it's one you look at if they were going to change the name of the league. We've seen people talk about name changes before. What do you change it to?
I'll just don't include the word Premier and I'll be happy. Jesus Christ. It's going to be in it. It's going to be the Premier Basketball League. Mind you, that's the thing, isn't it? That's the PBL thing. Yeah.
Like the guy Rod Scott still. Hey, he didn't send out his usual Christmas tweet this year though, so hopefully it's okay. Unless I missed it.
What about BBA, British Basketball Association?
Was that not also one of his brainchilds?
Yep. I think it was. Actually, that might have been John Amici.
Yeah, which was Rod Scott as well.
Oh, was that him as well?
Yeah. They were in cahoots for under BBA, and then when people began to see that, wait a minute, this isn't going anywhere, it became PBL and
BLB, British Basketball League, British Basketball League Britain.
Well, that's not going to work because we can't even say it.
Well, this is the other thing as well. Is obviously 777. Our American cousins involved with that refer to us as the UK. So we could well be the UKBL. United Kingdom Basketball. It's too close to UKIP, isn't it? Wow.
I'm very much glad that we're not involved in this rebrand now.
I don't know. Got some good ideas. Right, let's do it. Let's talk about the cup. Let's talk about the cup final. Ads was meant to be joining us. It's 9:30 now. It's not looking good for him, bless him. I'm just trying to see if he's tried to join and I've missed him, but I don't think I have. No. So let's talk Cup final, the batting order for it. Doors open at 10 a.m. for accreditation for media, for us media people. Hooray!
Woo! I'll see you later on.
Yeah, 12 p.m. is the WBBL Cup final. Actually, it always used to be the National Basketball League men's final and the BBL men's final would run in tandem very often, because a mate of mine played for Worthing Thunder and they won in 2003. Shout out Rani Malik. And then the Bears beat, I forget who we beat now. Jesus. Oh, can't remember. Good game though. Ralph Blaylock was amazing. So the women's game and presentation is up until 1:50. Now the weird thing is, and I don't think this is a misprint. 2:00 is the WBBL mix zone interviews, so the press conference, and we can go and interview them. At the same time, the slam dunk contest starts. Is that not a bit of an overlap?
Some people might be interested in that. When else are they going to fit it in?
Yeah, I guess. There's usually a bit of like a 15 to half an hour bit of leeway where you can go and actually get an interview with someone. Anyway, our plan is, I'll confirm this on Twitter, so look out on our Twitter feed for this, and we'll share links to the webpage, which is where you can listen to us live. We're going to do the podcast live from Birmingham. We are going to, whatever happens, whether we go on before the slam dunk contest or after, we are definitely going on for the duration of the slam dunk contest, and that starts at 2 p.m. So we're going to go on, talk through the dunks that are going on, talk pre-game. So we'll likely just go on at 2 and just run pretty much until tip-off, which is 3:30. We'll have plenty to talk about. We're going to try and get James Hawthorne Jr. to come on, talk to us. Obviously after the dunk contest. Elvisi Dusha is courtside. He has courtside tickets, and he's going to come and have a chat with us as well. And we'll see who else we can get hold of. There's obviously a long list of media there, so there's going to be some interaction with players and coaches. We'll try and get a couple of interviews, probably with coaches prior to the game, which we'll pump into the podcast. I'd really like to get an interview with Robert Youngblood. Yeah, I think that'd be quite cool.
Talk about the old days.
Talk about the old days. And then, 3:30 is the tip-off. Men's final. The halftime show is scheduled for 4:20 in terms of in the venue. We're going to click on live then as well and talk and do our little halftime chat about what's going on. We'll see how the sound carries on that one, because famously at the playoff final, we re-recorded and I switched the mics to the mic on my laptop. You know, that shitty little mic you get on your laptop. Consequently, it sounded like we were rolling continually down a hill. Just distortion from the halftime act. Second half, obviously, then we'll not tip off. We'll start, and we will set to come back probably with 2 minutes left on the game clock, and then talk through the presentation. End game, try and get some interviews if we can, see what we can get on that one. And then, we'll go home. The other thing is as well, I don't know what your train are you booked a train to come home? What time's that leave?
7:00.
Okay, so you won't have a huge amount of time afterwards. I was thinking we may try and record the show from Birmingham to put out Monday or Tuesday, but we'll see how that goes. We'll see how to time it keeps, because obviously if there's any overtime,
who knows?
Do we think there's going to be overtime? Now we're
probably the last two people to talk about this.
Nicholson's. Well, we talked about it a bit last week to try and get it out there. Nicholson,
what do you think's going to happen, Pabz? Go on.
Nicholson has predicted London. I think. I don't know. I don't want to speak for Ads. We'll have to talk to Ads.
He'll do it in afterwards.
I think. Yeah. Wait for the results. I wouldn't be surprised if he picked Riders.
Nah, me neither.
Because that's the sort of guy he is.
Obviously, the time we're recording this, Russell Evanson's on Twitter hinting at another signing, which would be guessing it's a replacement point guard because it looks like
Bandu. Yeah, we didn't talk
Bandu
about
got
that.
hurt.
That looked nasty. Yeah,
that didn't look great, and from all accounts, it could be some sort of lower leg kind of injury. If it's not, I've just
and back as well. Yeah, he fell on his back.
I heard that he landed on his back as well. So, fingers crossed for him. He's okay, because we were talking about how kind of a big deal that is for the league that someone like him's joining it. So hopefully, from a Leicester point of view, putting the injury aside, they're able to get someone else in who can add to the quality of the final. But I think
it's too late. I didn't think Bandu was going to be enough, if I'm honest, to bring someone in at this hour. When you bear in mind, there's 3 days, 4 days till the final. That's a huge ask and a huge pressure on a guy coming in. Obviously, it will be sold on more of a long term thing. Looking towards trying to push for a championship, a league championship. But in terms of impact in the final, who knows? I mean, if he could be bringing in Lou Williams, and then that's massive impact, isn't it? He's going to score 50 points. You know what I mean? If it's somebody like that caliber, exactly. You don't know.
You wonder. You just don't know.
No.
Like, a finals one-off. All it takes is someone like, we've seen Connor Washington go off in finals. With Jordan Whelan can just go off. Adds his favourite human in the world, Loving, could just go off. And actually, they could worry London, and it could go nip and tuck, and you're almost waiting to see, can Lions' lack of BBL Cup winningness with this squad be the difference across their quality? Like, you're almost trying to create a narrative there that Leicester are the better team in finals, in recent finals.
Yeah, history speaks volumes, yeah.
But, like, Lions are going to come into the weekend after, I think they've just lost by 3 to Gran Canaria. Okay, they were at home.
Yeah, who's back there?
But yeah, Ovi's back, Rebrand's back,
yep.
Boney's back. Apologies if I've pronounced his name wrong. And it's like, well, are these guys back enough to be fit? But actually, do they need them?
They lost by 3 to Gran Canaria. I'd say they're pretty ready to go. I mean, the other week when I said this, I felt like I was in a minority. I think it's going to be a blowout. And for the simple fact that you look at Lions, I mean, look at the fixtures Lions had just this week. So, okay, sorry, Scorchers, they were never going to lose that game in a million years. It didn't need to use everybody. Like we said, they share the minutes. There's no real standout player, as it were. Aaron Best, 18 points, I guess, in that one is a high figure for them when you look at the way they share the ball. And then, of course, a convincing win over Sheffield in one of those games again that's weird. It's like it's only a 12-point win, but they never looked in danger. They never looked like they were really breaking a sweat. Got players on the other team playing 37 minutes, 33 minutes, 30 minutes, and we've got everybody on the Lions roster playing 22 minutes. Like,
yeah,
it's a league game, and arguably against two of the weaker teams in the league, but they've done that against everybody, and the Johnny Bunyan said it, and I think I said that last week as well. They're beating teams at 75%, and they're beating teams easily. Now, and everybody's saying the same thing. It's one game. Anything can happen. It's one game, but it is one game, and because it's one game, I feel like the Lions are gonna pull out all the stops. You're gonna see something. You might not. They might spread the minutes, and they might not even notice, and they still win dominantly. Because let's not forget they've dominated the Riders both times they've played them.
But both times Leicester have had a kind of second half comeback, and that's kind of a thing.
They've hung around 100%.
But that's what a cup final do. You get it back to single figures, 3 minutes to go, and hey, anything can happen. The crowd's getting involved. I'm guessing Leicester are going to have a bigger travelling support.
You'd have thought so, yeah.
And you never know if that makes a difference.
But again, when you look at that, I mean, the first time they played, and it was only a 11-point win for the Lions. Luke Nelson on 28 minutes, I think, was the most for them.
Yeah.
Sam Decker 27, Luke Nelson 28, and everybody else was 22 minutes or less. And you look across, Zach Jackson's 32 minutes. Connor Washington played nearly half an hour in that one. 35 minutes for Whelan, 32 minutes for Mark Lovin.
I love how you always say Mark.
I know, I'm sorry. I don't know. I doubt he listens, but I know it's something he's not keen on. I don't mean to do it, but I'm a big fan of Superbad. I think it's one of the best films ever. It's a great movie.
And then you're a big fan of Mark Loving, so the combination is just so easy.
It makes it really hard not to slip up. But
do you think?
Yeah, you say. Well, just quickly, you saying about the riders resurge in these games against the Lions and they come back and they look good. But is that because they're sharing the minutes around? Is that because Lions are just doing enough to stay ahead? Don't want to bust a gut. You got European fixtures. Second time they played, to be fair, Decker played 33. Jordan Taylor played 32, and Josh Ward-Hibbert played 32 minutes. But they were away and they didn't travel particularly well. They only took 4 bench players.
Yeah, they had a lot of illness and injuries.
There you go. And they still came out on top. I think they. I always like to see that when it says you look up the biggest lead. So biggest lead was 19 points for the Lions. Biggest lead for the Riders. They didn't lead at all from start to finish. I just think in a final, for the reason that everybody keeps saying the Riders can win is the exact reason why they're going to get slaughtered, is because it is one game and there's silverware at stake this time. And we've not seen the Lions play with silverware at stake.
Yeah, true.
We've seen them with their backs against the wall to a degree. Obviously, they slipped up twice. Almost slipped up against Caledonia early on in the season. They look a completely different team to earlier on in the season.
Yeah, and you just have to look at some of the results in Europe. Tonight, they'll be disappointed they've not won that because it's at home.
Yeah.
I think they got beat by Gran Canaria by about 16 points on the road. So that alone shows that improvement. They've gone out to Israel and competed. They've beaten teams at home they probably shouldn't have beaten as well. And what they're doing in Europe, take that kind of energy and fight into a final. Yeah, I can't decide what I think. I kind of want it to be close. Having really been at finals from a Gladiators or Rocks point of view, that we're in the game, but we then just kind of disappear. So I would like to see a close one in person. But I think it's going to be one of these ones where halftime, if Lions are up by anything double figures, I don't think it's coming back.
I think as well, testament as well, really, to Coach Rob and the Riders is that I don't think for 1 minute that the Lions will take the Riders for granted.
No.
Like you could potentially say that maybe in different situations, if maybe a different team had made the final, maybe the Lions could be caught sleeping. But because it's Leicester and because they've got, the pedigree, I think, forget it. It's they're not going to take it for granted.
Don't think so. And it will be interesting to see their minute spread. It'll be interesting to see who's their 12 players, like who misses out. You've seen guys all season like Ward-Hibbert, Caboza, kind of been ever present in their roster or active roster.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how active those guys are and actually how many minutes they play, if at all.
This is it. They may not go down the bench this time. They may not go down the bench. They might say, right, Decker, stay out there. Let's get 25 points up. Ovi, let's get things going. Rebrand is the one as well. He's been he's kind of an enigma, isn't he? He's one of those guys. He's just a phenomenal talent. And they literally say, I've not had the privilege to watch him in warm-ups yet because they've not been down to Plymouth, but they say he just doesn't miss. Game starts, it might be slightly different. You might miss one or two, but he is such a talent. And he's a big game guy. He likes, he plays in the big games. He's played in Europe. He's
played Eurobaskets. He's
God, let's Well, I was going to say let's have prediction for fun, but we'll put it into predictions. Let's have a prediction for MVP.
Oh, it's going to either be someone, if it's London, if Ove's fit, does Ove do it by going double-double? Couple blocks? Or is it going to be a Sam Decker scoring 25?
I'll go Decker. Because he can rebound and pass. I think he could get a triple-double.
He could.
This could sound real shit if we play this back and the Riders get a win.
See, no, I'm trying. You're the one hating on them.
Well, I'm not hating on. If the Riders win, I think Mark Lovin will be the MVP because he's had really good games against London as well. They can't shut him down. But then that might be their plan. They might be like, well, we'll let him get his 25, but no one else is scoring.
Well, we talk about Leicester as being like three big players for them: Whelan, Jackson, Loving. So if you're stopping one of those guys going off, they all score kind of quite often in their 20s, all three of them.
That's 60 points right there.
That's probably what Gladiators did to them the two times they've come, or the time they came up to Glasgow. They stopped them through, I think it was Bailey was on Loving, and Loving struggled all night.
Yeah.
And if you're going to, you need to almost match them with size and the same size player, same type of player. Could Decker just lock him out? Does a Zubcic take him out the game? Who knows? I'm excited for it. I think if I need to choose one for MVP, if you chose Decker, I'll choose Ove if he plays.
There you go. Well, you heard it here first. And Ads, if he's listening to this, probably screaming at his mobile device. So no, Leicester are going to do it. All right, let's. By the way, Brighton Bears beat Chester Jets in the final 2003 because John McCord had a great game, 28 points. But Wilbur Johnson was MVP. Blaylock 22 points. And I went to Birmingham for that. I think it was the NEC. Is it? So this venue, it doesn't say on it. The venue in Birmingham now, it's not. What is it? It was the NIA, National Indoor Arena.
But the quickest way for me to get to the NIA is to walk through the NEC. True story.
Of course. So is it still the NIA? Is it called something else now? It's called something else.
Utilita.
But is it the same venue?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited. I haven't been there since the Bears one. That's amazing. Anyway.
Oh, it better be yours because that's what I'm aiming for.
It is the utilitarian. No, that's the regime. Oh, never mind. Anyway. It's about that time for us to take a look at who we think should receive the BTR5 honours. Obviously, it's not just statistic-based. You don't have to be on the winning team. It's players we've seen over the weekend that we think deserve the nod. Nicholson's mailed in his. Shall I read his out first?
His don't even make sense, though.
Well, Sloan makes sense. He's got Sloan.
Yeah.
I think we're all agreed on Sloan. He had a fantastic game against the Pats. Watson Gale, another good shout for his 30. Was it 32? 30 points, 32 points, 17 first half points for the Flyers. That's a possibility. He's put Bailey, but I don't. You guys only played once at the weekend, and he wasn't his normal standard.
Yeah, he wasn't very good.
I didn't say that. Oh, you said that. Taj Green for either game, to be honest with you. I think he had two solid games, but particularly the 38 points. No, wait. I've gone back too far there, haven't I?
He double both games, but his one against Cheshire was probably better. 18 and 10 rather than 8 and 12.
So he's gone for Green. I must admit I put Green as well, and he's put Sam Decker.
I think he just made up players at the weekend.
So we need to thrash some out. Well, I had Larry Austin. I did have Green. I had Tape, Justin Gordon, Onwas, and I did put Watson Gale as well. But I've obviously, who are we going for? Who have you got from Caledonia? Because I think that's going to be the turn. We got Tape, definitely, yeah?
Well, I was going to say definitely Sloan.
Ah. Yeah, Sloan. No, we've got Sloan already. We've all agreed on Sloan.
Okay. So
Tape on.
I'm only gonna ask for one this week.
Just Sloan.
Yeah, I just think I'll just take Sloan. One of his, yeah.
Who else you got then?
Boy.
Let's see if we cross-reference any.
I also want to have. Where has he gone? Make sure I get it right. Watson Gale, of course,
right,
huge fan of his.
So we're all on that.
I want Hassan French from the Eagles Manchester game, 19 points, 18 rebounds in 28 minutes. I want him watching that game. I thought he was incredible. I also then want William Lee from that same game.
You not got Green for anything?
I've not got there yet, but no, not unlikely. Well, what have I got? That's 3 players.
Yeah, you've got two extra ones that no one else has got. French and Lee.
Let me just check. See Lions from the weekend. It's hard to go for someone like the Lions.
It's tricky. They share the ball so much.
I thought it was interesting seeing Aaron Best back in the BBL playing.
He had good numbers against.
Because he was good. He was almost going to show them, like, hey, don't forget about me. So I was tempted to throw him in.
No one from Cheshire?
I'm just double checking their Leicester stats, because I think that always will put them down in my estimation if they've not had a good game across games. But what was Larry Austin? Was he good
had a good game
against Giants?
Yes, he was. Yeah, he had 19 points against.
Yeah, big fan of Larry Austin. So for me, Larry Austin, William Lee, Gale, Sloan, and Hassan French.
So myself, you're outvoted for Green, 2-1. And now we're stuck. We got Justin Gordon, French, Lee, and Tape. And no deciding votes.
So who's our definite? Gale,
Sloan, Watson, Gale, Austin, and Green.
You know what? The big guy from Newcastle deserves a shout. 19 and 18.
Is this French?
Yeah.
Let's do that then.
He's not. I don't think he's had a mention yet.
No, that's big stats, man.
That's enough. That game alone could probably earn him a contract elsewhere. Like that's a big thing.
Yeah. Let's recap then. So we've got Sloan, Watson Gale, Larry Austin, Taj Green, and Hassan French. Congratulations to them.
We're all having massive tech issues. Have you seen what my camera's doing right now?
Your camera's having a little hissy fit, but we'll ignore that. And instead, we should look.
Me saying low system resources.
We should look at
closing applications. I've got Zoom open and live stats open. That's all I've got.
Too many windows. Let's look at predictions. Let's recap very quickly. So Giants got the win over the Eagles. So Grant, you dropped a bollock on that one.
Yeah.
Lions win. We all get points for that. Gladiators win. Oh, hang on. Let's make sure. Yeah, everybody picked Gladiators except for Nicholson, so he drops points there. I picked the Knicks against the Riders, so I get bugger all for that one. Flyers obviously got the win. Flyers won both their games at the weekend, didn't they? So they've leapt ahead in the chase. Oh. Who picked the Eagles?
Against Giants, me.
Yeah.
I zagged.
No, it was against Flyers, that was, wasn't it?
Oh, I didn't. I picked Flyers.
Yeah, you did. But I've got Nicholson as Eagles on that one.
Hey, unlucky, Paul.
Yeah. I picked the Knicks against the Giants. And they got the win. And everybody else can suck it. So let's total up. Nicholson, 56 at the moment. 58, 59, 60, 61 for Nicholson. Grant, 56, 57, 58, 59. Oh, 61 for Grant as well. Good lord. Ad's got some wins on this one. 49. 49, 50. 56. Ad's is up to 56. And I'm on 60, so...
Getting close.
Good lord. 61, 61, 60 and 56. Which leads us, of course, to this week's picks. Let's ready the screen. Right, let's... we've got... let me open the window for that. We've got a load of picks from Nicholson, who's well prepared. Oh, he must have been a Boy Scout, for sure. Let's head to live picks. So, Lions, I remember this coming up because Lions obviously have a game Friday. So, they've had a game tonight, they've got a game Friday, and then they've got the final on Sunday. It's partly of their own doing. I guess it's all of your own doing if you're setting a fixtures list yourself. But tough, isn't it? Playing Friday and then the Cup final Sunday. But I guess with that squad, the only thing is it's the Phoenix, and the Phoenix are on a bit of a roll. They're unlucky against the Riders.
But Phoenix, see, my thing with Cheshire, we didn't really touch on them. They changed. They're one of the few teams that kind of constantly change their starting five. Right. Yeah. You've seen Will Neighbour start quite a bit recently with some of their other bigs coming off the bench. So that's an interesting one. I just don't think they'll have enough. Not deep enough.
You're probably right. Are we all, I think Nicholson's going Lions on that one. Are we all going Lions?
Well, I'm going Lions, yes.
I think we could safely put ads in for Lions. Oh, I don't know actually, because it's against the Knicks, isn't it? He likes the Knicks. I'll leave ads out and we'll let him make his picks.
He's got until tip off Friday night.
Friday, yeah. So next game up, there's only one game Friday night. That is Lions Cheshire, and then Saturday evening.
Oh no, that's Saturday Thursday night? They're playing. No, that's Thursday they're playing.
Have I got that wrong? Hang on, 26th. Yeah, 26th, 27th. No. Yeah, Thursday night, you're right. Yeah. So tomorrow night, as you're listening to this, probably. Interesting. So the Friday night then, 27th. Giants at home. Surrey Scorchers, the visitors. I can tell you that Nicholson's gone for the Giants. Where are you going for this?
Yeah, I'm going Giants.
Can we see the Scorchers taking one there? Oh, I'm really tempted to zag.
Really? On that one?
Yeah, it's just... There's an element of the Giants that's a little bit... Which team's going to turn up tonight? Is it going to be the team that makes 23s from 40, or is it the team that's going to take 30 and hit 5? No, I'll go Giants. I'll stay Giants. I feel like I've sold out there. I don't know why. Next up, Sharks, the home team. Plymouth City Patriots, the visitors.
Who are you going for?
I'm going to go Pats. Oh no, am I going to go Pats? I've got to think about this now. Yeah, I'll go Pats. I feel like the new boys won't like to lose too many, and they're going to be hard on it in training.
I'm going to go the opposite. I'm saying Sharks. They're new guys on the blue walls. Plymouth, America. See, I'm going Sharks.
Blue wall. Well, you're the Zag at the moment. We'll see what ads will probably go. I don't know what ads will do on that one. That's a tough one to call because he doesn't like Sheffield. But yeah. And then it's your guys at home. Last game on the 27th. Gladiators at home. Bristol Flyers, the visitors. This is a real test, this one. This is the one, the test for the Gladiators. Do they deserve to be up there?
Make or breaks. Not makes or breaks, but it kind of says what type of team we are. We've obviously beaten Bristol once at their place. They've thrashed us at their place as well. I'm going to Gladiator win, of course. Annoyingly, I'm working Friday night.
Oh.
I know.
That is annoying.
Give me Sunday games again, please.
That is an irritation. Nicholson, obviously, has gone Glads as well. He's got Gladiators. And I'm going to zag and go Flyers. Whee!
Exciting.
And then it's the Cup Final. The BBL Cup Final 2022-23 season. Leicester Riders, who probably will have more travelling fans. It's whether or not the neutral fans, if there are any, will cheer the Lions on. This is so difficult, isn't it, in a situation, because very often the fans love an underdog. But it's the Riders. They've never been underdogs.
I know.
And it's weird, isn't it? And they've kind of generated over the years, for all their success, they've generated that element of people that are like, oh, them again. Can't wait to see them slip up. But now it's the Lions. You know, are they gonna slip up? Can you cheer if they slip up? Because the Lions, obviously, with the humongous roster. Anyway, I'm going Lions. Where are you going?
Lions, and I actually want them to. Like, when you look at through stuff, like, I really want Lions to win. I think from everything the league's trying to do, London winning the first silverware this season goes a long way to continue the building blocks for what London are trying to do, what the league is aiming for. So yeah, for me, 100% London.
Yeah, I think they're going to do it, and I think they're doing it in style. Part of me, the very old part of me from yesteryear, would like to see them slip up in one of the competitions so they don't sweep all four. Because in my mind, then you can't be considered one of the best teams, because there's only a limited number of teams that have done it. Kingston have done it twice. Chester Jets did it once. And the Eagles have done it a handful of times as well. Leicester haven't done it. Leicester have never swept, which shocks people sometimes. You're like, no, Leicester have won all competitions, but they've not won them all in one season.
Yeah, I don't feel like they've won in Glasgow a trophy much.
But that puts you on an elite level. If you can win all four in one season. And I know people are like, oh, you shouldn't be considered, that shouldn't be the thing. And so many great teams have been and done the double or done the treble. It's like, yeah, but only the elite ones have done all four. Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's okay to say that out loud. Like, you can say there's been great teams in the past, but the elite teams, particularly back in the 90s and the early 2000s, no disrespect to Eagles fans, through the latter periods, it wasn't a particularly strong league then. But you've still got to do it. It's still not easy, You can still slip up in a competition. So part of me wants the Lions to slip up just in one of them, just so Kingston keep the edge.
All about those Kingston. But hey, you've also said on this recording that they're going to blow them out, so decide what way.
I think they will. I honestly think they'll win all four competitions. And potentially in some style, Yeah. Anyway, I think that's it from us. No Nicholson, no ads, but look out for us if you're there at the Cup Final. We'll be in the media section. I'll be wearing a BBL All-Star jersey with cheeks on the back. Custom made.
That's class. I haven't even decided what I'm going to wear. It might just have to be my Gladiator kit.
It's got to be done. You've got to go BBL kit, 100%. Full kit wanker. Trouble is, the only full kit I've got is Raiders. And if Nicholson's going to be up there with us, he won't like that.
No, I don't think he would. Don't think he would. Hey, for those listening, I've got a big thing happening on Friday.
All right, keep your personal life out of it. Let's keep Go on.
Getting a chance to sit down with the new ownership of the Gladiators and doing my first face-to-face recording since obviously my podcast started with the team. So excited, but also nervous.
Good work, sir.
When you're doing these things remotely, you can hide behind a laptop screen and blame internet connection.
Yeah, face-to-face is very different.
Face-to-face is different, but hey, no, exciting is excited to see what they've got to say, and if anyone's got any questions they'd like me to ask or things they'd like me to ask, hit me up on social media, or let's see how that goes. And then if you've got a chance, check out a recording that I did with Jeremiah Bailey last week.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to check that out. I'm going to listen to that on the way
25 minutes. Check it out. That's me plugging stuff. You usually ask us to plug stuff at the
end.
end.
Yeah, crack on.
I just kind of assumed I'm going to do that, so I've done that.
Well played, sir. Well played. Anyway, I've got anything to plug.
You guys on Sunday.
Yeah. Big man hugs all the way. Game on. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting my arms around you, young man.
Lucky me. Coming off a frustrated Advante West Coast mainline train, being like,
game on. The wife's coming as well. The wife's going to do some production editing on the day and some recording. She's going to get some interviews with people. So that'll be good. We'll be there with our lanyards on.
The Rim Network.
Yeah, I'll rope the kids into it one year as well. We'll do that. Maybe the playoff final. I'll get the kids running around. We'll have runners. Go and get our lunch. Stuff like
that. My wee one's only 5. She'll definitely just put, nope. Nope. She's. I've said it. I don't mind saying it because it's quite funny, but she's not very complimentary of the show. She's 5 and would much rather listen to Disney, so it's clearly just not her thing.
Hey, listen, they don't get any better when they're older. My 7-year-olds or so. My 21-year-old won't even listen to it. Yeah.
They're missing it, man.
My little 7-year-old's the same. They can play together. That'll be fine.
We'll just get a wee mini hoop and mini net round the back of the nets.
I think you'd be better off with my little one getting pom-poms. She likes the dancing cheerleader route, I think.
See, my wee one, like when I take her to games, she's kind of a mascot, the dancers, she's getting into the chants, singing the songs the DJ's playing. Like, no, she cheers when a big play happens. I've had her in training for these moments. It was when Scotland beat England in the Commonwealth Games. I've got a picture of her and me, her sitting on my knee, and us both glued to the telly watching Gareth Murray just destroy England.
That's fantastic.
Oh, she was glued to the telly with me. Had no clue she was a baby, but she knows. She's been in training for these moments.
That's awesome. I like that. Well, we had Patriots. Ben Fox shout out Ben Fox, went to my little girl's school. I think I mentioned this last week. They went to the school to do like a little presentation. My daughter's school is only small. It's really small. It's like a little village school. And it's really nice. It's a nice school. Anthony School it's called. But so Ben goes in and he's got Patriots hoodie on. I'm imagining he had Patriots gear on anyway, and he's doing the spiel, the presentation to the kids I think it was in assembly.
Hand up,
Lizzie, put her hand up, bless her. My daddy works for the Patriots, which I don't. Obviously, I work. Depends how you define work. Volunteer is probably closer to the mark, but so evidently. Ben says, "Oh, does he? What's his name?" So she says, "My real name, Paul." She doesn't say Pabz. And he's like, "Oh, right, but Nicholson? I don't think." And like he's uncovered some kind of dark secret about Nicholson, kind of thing. And then it kind of twigged, and he went, "Oh, Pabz." And my daughter's like, "Yeah, Pablo Cheeks."
Love that.
He does the commentary with some other guy. which obviously is Nicholson. Yeah, and they're going to go back with a player every night when I put her to bed. She asks me when are they coming back and what player's coming back because she loves LVC.
Brilliant.
She's a big Dusha fan because he wears Daddy's number 12, which is what I wore when I played water polo.
That's class. Love that.
Yeah, so she every time she's like, when's he coming back? When's he coming back? What players he bringing? Are you coming? I'm like, well, if I'm off, I'll come in definitely, 100%. I'll be there, no question. I'll make a hype video for it. Hey, here's the thing as well. I'm toying with the idea of making a hype video for the cup final. What do you think?
Oh, we've got to
Make one of the just a standard hype video. Yeah, I've got to. Yeah. Just a standard hype video, like the pre-game. It'd be full of Patriots highlights, obviously. That could be fun. Could show a bit of history.
Oh, I love that.
Could show a bit of flashing back. Some shots of Rob Paternoster when he looked 15.
I like that. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, we might, if I've got time, I'll knock one up. We'll see what we can do.
But hey, some of us have got to do some work before the finals, so
yeah, same here.
Yeah,
not looking forward to that. Last day tomorrow for me though, and then I'm off. Although I was hoping Nicholson would come on tonight because we're going to try and get the new guys on a podcast on the Patriots podcast.
Brilliant. I love that we're still recording, and every episode there's always a wee rant at the end.
Hey, listen, I've been listening to a lot of Joe Rogan lately. I feel we should end each podcast with that kind of vibe. Just chatting shit.
I mean, if you could see what trousers I've got on right now, this podcast would explode. I've got blue Jama bottoms on right now.
Oh, legend. That's awesome. I'm
winning right now. Comfy. I'm winning.
Great work, sir. I'm a big fan of that. I wish I had some of them. I don't know if they do in my size.
I was amazed to do it in my size, so...
That's phenomenal. Good work. Right. Let's call it a night, sir. Thank you for joining
ramble, sir. Good ramble.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for listening at home. Until next
Happy Burns
week.
Day for tomorrow, anyone? Happy Burns Day.
Oh, happy Burns Day.
For today, if you're listening on Wednesday.
Yeah, today. Tonight.
Enjoy your haggis, neeps and tatties.
I might nip to Morrison's tomorrow.
Bring a wee Burns poem for us.
Pick up a haggis.
Good
That's
work. As much as you're getting.
Until the weekend. So I knew it said till next week. Until Sunday, 2 p.m. We'll be there for the dunk contest. We'll chat our way through that. So if you can't, if you want to mute the telly and listen to us instead, we totally understand. Then the halftime show, and then some post game. We'll come to you live during the presentation, most likely last couple of minutes of the game and the presentation. Until then, take it easy, and we'll speak to you soon.